What's up, U.S. history students? I wanted to take a minute and talk quickly about JFK and his administration and what happens in the all-important city of Berlin during the early 1960s. If you remember, it's probably been a month ago now, when we talked about the Berlin blockade that the Russians put on Berlin, and we talked about the response with the Berlin airlift. Okay, I drew this beautiful map on the board. Let me hold it up here. Right? So we have East and West Germany. East Germany controlled, tied to the Russians. West Germany tied to democracy in the U.S. Now, super important point, and I know this is drawn to scale as I reminded you in class. Okay, the city of Berlin sits well within East Germany, not drawn to scale. Okay, now that city, all important city, right? World War II, we had the race to Berlin, also gets divided east and west. Right? So in class, we talked about how Berlin is really a island of democracy in a sea of communism. Okay, in the blockade, remember they cut off West Berlin, and we had to decide: are we going to invade? Are we just going to let them go, or are we going to do the airlift? So that's in the late 40s. So now we're in the early 60s, and again, I'm in Kennedy and the Cold War. I'm going to blow my screen up here. So we talked about how Berlin was split into Democratic, Communist. Okay, this is where now the Berlin Wall comes into play. So in the early 1960s, the Russians are going to build a Berlin Wall that goes around West Berlin. And this is where a lot of misconception comes in for people. If I scroll down and you scroll down, you'll see a map, right? That yellow is the Berlin Wall. It is not a straight wall. It doesn't run down the middle of East and West Germany. It runs all the way around West Berlin. And the reason for that is people from the Russian sectors of either East Berlin or East Germany have been trying to get in to West Berlin, the democratic area, and the Russians don't want that to happen anymore. So they construct this wall. And again, this is during JFK's presidency. So I have a link on there. After the wall goes up, and you can see it's constructed in 1961, it begins. JFK will visit Berlin, the west side, in June of 1963, so only a few months before his assassination in Texas. He's going to deliver a famous speech where he says in German, Ich bin ein Berliner, which I probably said something not, I am a Berliner, but that's what he said in German. So check that out. That link has the audio and the transcript, or you could just go to YouTube and take a peek at that. But that's like his pep talk, right? The great coach speech at halftime or before a game, rallying and kind of getting to the West Berliners to hang in there and hang tough. All right, we'll see you next time. We'll add more and spend a lot more time on the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, if I can just figure out how to stop the video. Let's see. Otherwise, it'll just cut me off at the 5-minute mark. I'm going to go here. All right, I'm going to pause myself. I think I figured it out. I'm learning. You're learning. We're all learning. See you next time.